Hey guys, Ron here, and have you ever wondered what some of these weird looking creatures we call Pokémon are supposed to be? Of course, with the amount of videos I've made covering various origins of Pokémon, I'm assuming you know how almost every Pokémon has an origin, or at least one major real-world myth or animal that inspired the Pokémon's concept or design. We recently covered all the Pokémon that seemingly have no concrete origin in a video that you must watch, but in this video, I'm going to be talking about the Pokémon who are based on something, but are so heavily stylized that it's hard to notice, or the franchise rarely explains the Pokémon's origins. A bad example would be Scyther, who won't be on this list because even though it doesn't look exactly like a real praying mantis, the Pokédex says that it's the Mantis Pokémon. Another example of a Pokémon not on this list would be Thundurus, because even though most people outside of Japan wouldn't know that this Pokémon is based on Raijin from Japanese mythology, it's clearly based on Raijin to someone who already knows about the myth. I'm talking about Pokémon that may be mistaken to be based on something that they are not, or seem to have no origin whatsoever, but actually do once you do a little digging, like Sandslash. We're starting off with a relatively easy one. I know what it's supposed to be, and you may know what it is too, but a lot of people online think that it's either a porcupine or even an armadillo. And I get it, the animal it is based on was thought to be closely related to armadillos. Sandslash is a pangolin, while its armor is spicier than... I wrote spicier instead of spikier, okay. While its armor is spikier than a real pangolin, which is definitely the reason people are thrown off, its sharp claws and ability to roll into a protective ball make this thing 100% genuine pangolin. Game Freak did a really good job translating this creature into a Poké Monster without making it too explicitly pangolin-like. Sandslash has a high-quality design and it gets its good looks from its origin too. It's a win-win. Electabuzz is a thing, but what is it? It's clearly a super angry bee tiger, but those don't exist. Well, it turns out it's actually pretty easy to notice the similarities to Electabuzz's true origin once you focus on its powers, horns, and tiger skin. It's based on an Oni. Oni are Japanese demon ogres that have horns, at times elemental powers, and often wear tiger skin. But what about Electabuzz's roasting rival? Magmar is clearly a bird of some sort, but did you know that it's based on a specific kind of bird? It's basically a booby, with a duckbill and a mythical salamander motif, which is what Charmander is based on too. This explains the tail, but do I have to repeat the word booby again? No? Booby is clear? Okay, just remember that in Japan, Magby's name is Booby, Magmar's name is Boober, and Magmortar's name is Boobarn. Paris is one bug whose origin rarely pops up. I mean, a lot of people do know that its parasitic Tochukasu mushroom is based on a parasitic fungi like Ophiocordyceps, which zombifies various bugs. But what kind of bug is Paris? It's most likely a cicada nymph, which are prone to parasitic fungi. Paris seems to be a cousin of Nincada. I've talked about the origin of Drowsy and Muna on this channel a bunch of times, but if you're new here, I guess it's your lucky day because we're gonna learn about the Baku, a Japanese mythological creature that eats your dreams, just like Drowsy and Muna. Even though they're clearly Bakus, it's not super clear what the Baku is. It's a tapir, or tapir, it doesn't matter, whatever, which influenced the design of these face-feasting fellows as well. Now let's hop on Lapras. It's based on the Loch Ness Monster, which is believed to be a plesiosaur. So Lapras is a plesiosaur with a shell. Snorlax is pretty much a hibernating bear, but its primary inspiration is Game Freak's staff member Koji Nishino. This isn't a joke. His Japanese name is even based on Nishino's nickname. Now Typhlosion may come off as an ambiguous, angry mammal, but the fierce animal that inspired Typhlosion's design is the honey badger. I wonder if its color scheme was flipped to resemble one, maybe people would recognize its origin. The honey badger is known to be fearless and even has especially protective skin around its neck, which might have influenced the location of Typhlosion's fire. Dunsparce is another critter I've talked about a bunch of times, so I'm gonna keep this description short. It's based on the Japanese cryptid, the Tsuchinoko, but in northeastern Japan, it's called the Bachihebi, or bee snake, which heavily influenced Dunsparce's design. Mudkip looks like both an axolotl and mud puppy, but all of its names reference the mud skipper, so it's either an amphibian or an extremely amphibious fish. Lombre is a kappa with a lily pad on its head. Kappas, these Japanese mythological creatures, are known to have rain dishes on their head, so the lotus leaf is just a cool take on the Ludicolo line's origin. The wicked Shiftry is a Pokemon version of Tengu, the spirit of the forest. From its demeanor, long nose, white hair, leaf fans, wind powers to its wooden clogs, this Pokemon is heavily inspired by this legendary Japanese creature that most Westerners wouldn't even dream of knowing about. Now Manectric will be the last Japanese-inspired Pokemon on this list, even though we still got a lot more to go. It's based on the Raiju, a legendary creature made of lightning that usually takes the form of a wolf. While Manectric has the appearance of a maned wolf, its mouth resembles a crocodile clip, which are used to create electrical connections. Spinda is often mistaken to be a red panda, which aren't actually bears, when it is in fact a Chinling panda. If you want a little more information, go check out the previous video I made by clicking on the card that's popping in the top right corner. Trapinch and its family are based on antlions, not dragonflies. It's a common misconception that I've repeated a billion times on this channel, so please do yourself a favor and check out this video if you want to learn a little bit more about Flygon, everybody's favorite sand dragon. Claydol is a doll made out of clay, but let's get more intimate with this Pokemon's origin. It's based on these spaceman-looking clay figurines made in prehistoric Japan called Dogu, so Claydol is a less sexy version of these curvy clay cuties. The Aura Pokemon Lucario, who can sense the life force of all living beings, appears to be based on Anubis, the jackal-headed Egyptian god of the afterlife, who would judge your soul, resembling Lucario's aura-seeing powers. The Lucario line also has similarities to ancient boxers, which explains the fighting type, but to sum it all up, they're jackals, y'all. Manaphy is a sea angel. I mean, let's not be so formal, these are slugs, sea slugs. The Fione family seems to be more specifically Cleone sea angels. Whimsicott's a sheep, but with cotton instead of wool. Bam! Or should I say ram? No, I'll say bam. There's more to its origin, but this is the most interesting design-wise. Scrafty's a lizard. It's not a specific kind of lizard, but some people don't know that it's even supposed to be a reptile whose skin is shedding, resembling the sagging pants of urban youth, and even a bandit-like hoodie. Its punk mohawk is just the spikes that tons of lizards like iguanas seem to have. This Pokemon wants you to believe that it's rebelling, but its appearance is natural, and not really a conscious decision. Sigilif, who protected the walls of a long-gone ancient civilization, are based on the ancient Nazca lines found in Peru, most specifically the bird-looking ones. The purpose of these large lines carved into the desert aren't confirmed. Their mysterious nature has carried on to this mysterious Pokemon. Most people assume it's just some weird bird that hangs around the desert and doesn't have an actual origin. But it does. A lot of fans think Stuntisk is derpy, and it is, but they overlook its origin and significance because of this. It hides in mud and shocks anything that steps on it, so its flatness is essential to its survival, like the Electric Ray, Stargazer, Flounder, and Common Dab. Yes, Dab. Mienfoo and Mienshao have their basis in wit fighting, Shaolin Kung Fu, and other martial arts, but for the sake of this video, what are these Pokemon? They're weasels, more specifically a stoat, more specific than that, an ermine, which is what half of its name comes from. But remember, if you harm this animal, you go straight to hell. True Green Pro Tip: while the Swords of Justice are clearly based on the Three Musketeers and D'Artagnan, their appearance is based on various ungulates of the even-toed varieties, like antelopes, sheep, and goats. Their designs are so heavily stylized that it's a bit hard to tell which animal inspired each legendary, but they are consistent with the biology of even-toed ungulates. And the Colossian Slurpuff is a dog, most specifically the French cultivated lapdog Bichon Frise. Their tongue is a very significant feature, so it kinda makes sense that this domesticated taste machine would have dog-like attributes. Usually people are too focused on the muraying traits of this Pokemon that they forget about the animal features. But the final question is, what are you supposed to be? Well, hopefully a subscriber of True Green 7, so subscribe if you enjoyed this video and make sure to leave a like. You can even help out some more by becoming a patron of mine on Patreon for some cool rewards. Check out the description for links to all the songs I used, t-shirts I made, and link to my Facebook and Twitter accounts. Bye!